Hi, I'm Jana Benj and I'm the president of the Kerouac Project of Orlando, and I'm here today. It's November 2017 and I'm here with Suleika Jaouad, and she's been our fall resident, and so welcome.
Thank you. Well, more of a goodbye than a welcome, unfortunately.
Well, welcome to the show, but goodbye to the house. Boo-hoo. It is a farewell interview. So, I guess we'll start at the beginning. How did you hear about the residency here?
I first heard about the residency from a former resident, Lily Brooks Dalton, who came here last year to work on a book, and I noticed these pictures that she was posting of this funky little house. And when I looked into it a little bit, I learned a little bit more about the history. And I noticed that I had about a week left to apply.
Oh boy.
So on an impulse, I sent in my application, but it ended up being perfect timing because at that point I was working on a book and living in New York City. I don't have much of a workspace other than my dining room table, and I was looking for exactly that, for a quiet place to kind of sit and really dive deep into the writing.
Wow, so you went from your kitchen table to all of these rooms at your disposal.
I did.
And did you use them all?
I certainly used all of them, but I mostly worked in the back of the house, where there's this big open space and these two desks, and one I used as my writing table, and the second desk I used as my revision table.
Okay.
Like a very big luxury.
So I'm not going to be revising now. I'm at my writing table.
Right.
And tell us a little bit about your book.
So it's my first book. It's a memoir called Between Two Kingdoms that's forthcoming from Random House whenever I get my act together, but hopefully early 2019, late 2018. And it's the story of a 3.5-month road trip I took around the US with my dog Oscar, but maybe more importantly, it's the story of the events that led me to go on the road, which was these 5 kind of interrupted years of my early 20s when I was diagnosed with leukemia and in treatment for that and undergoing a bone marrow transplant. But I've been really interested in themes of reentry and how once you've had an experience like that, whether it's an illness or whether you're coming back from a conflict zone or whatever it may be, how it is that you kind of move forward and what you do in the aftermath of an experience like that, and how you kind of find your way,
how you fit back in, or do you ever fit back in, or to find a different way. Right. So how much have you been able to accomplish while you've been here?
So when I came here, I had about 150 pages of my book, and just before this interview, I checked the word count, and I have about 260 pages. So it's been a productive 3 months, and I've worked on some other projects. I worked on a long journalism story I've been writing for a magazine. I worked on some shorter personal essays, but it's amazing how much you can get done when you have 3 months away from your adult responsibilities and you're in a space where everything is conducive to you writing and being creative and getting as much work done as you possibly can.
And nobody's asking you out all the time, or you've really got a lot of time to. How did you plan out your days? Did you have a rhythm that kind of how your days went?
So I had a routine that I fell into coming here, but before I even arrived, I decided on a few rules for myself. The first of which was that I was going to put an away message on my email, and that unless it was absolutely necessary, I wasn't going to kind of feel pressured to be online and to be responding to emails or to be posting on social media. And I've pretty much stuck to that for the 3 months that I've been here. The second was that I was going to try and be as healthy as I possibly could, because I think as wonderful as residencies can be, they can also be intense in moments and challenging and anxiety provoking, because you have all this time to produce
results.
Right? But the truth of it is that no matter how few adult responsibilities you may have, I don't know that anyone can sit and work all day, every single day for 3 months. So the routine that I developed here was that I'd wake up and I'd exercise, and I hate exercising, but I did get into a groove and I started running around the different lakes that are in the neighborhood, Lake Adair and what's the one to the left? Lake Aussie, I forget. But I woke up in the morning and I'd go for a run, and then I'd come back and I'd do a long stretch of morning writing where I try to just get as many ideas down on paper as possible. And around lunch, I'd take a 2-hour break to read and to kind of walk and do whatever it was that I wanted. And I spent the afternoons revising. And in the evenings, I would print out what I'd done that day and leave it on my desk so that I could read it with fresh eyes the next morning. And that was pretty much my routine for about 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you keep that up on the weekends as well? Or?
I did not carve out weekends.
Okay.
I would kind of work for as many consecutive days as I could stand it, and then inevitably I'd have to take a day off and do something fun. But I tried to kind of leave myself the flexibility to work for as long as I wanted and was inspired to, but also to have a kind of pretty established routine, so that on the days when I wasn't feeling inspired, as I often am not, I was still kind of sitting at the desk and putting in the hours and putting in the work.
And you're one of the few residents who has survived a hurricane here. Congratulations.
I did.
How did that feel?
As someone who hasn't spent much time in Florida, it was an interesting introduction, but actually, in a way, I feel like I was able to kind of meet more people within the Kerouac Project community through that experience. I got to know Karen Price, who's on the board through that, and Danielle. Even if perhaps it was unfortunate timing, it was also kind of a nice reminder that this isn't just a residency where you're alone in the house, but if and when you choose to be involved, there's an entire community of people who are here to help support you and to hang out and to get you through a hurricane.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So you haven't spent much time in Orlando before this?
I haven't.
No? So how did the reality line up with your expectations?
I think being from New York, when I hear the word Orlando, I think, of course, of Disney World, and I was surprised to discover that there's a really cool, vibrant literary community and arts community here in Orlando. And I loved going to the functionally literate series. I went to the White House Foundation here to hear a concert. And there were just readings and open mics and all kinds of things happening all the time.
Crazy amount of things.
I think the other thing that surprised me is being from Manhattan, I'm not a very good driver, and I don't have a car here, but College Park at least was really walkable. And I enjoy just being able to walk and to go to a coffee shop or to go to a restaurant or just, check out the little boutiques in the neighborhood. And in that sense, I was surprised to discover that it's actually not so different to where I'm from.
You could do something without a car in College Park.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Okay, and what's going to happen now with you personally and with your book?
So when I return home, I'll be finishing this book manuscript and revising it and putting it out into the world and touring that book for at least a couple of months. But what I'm really looking forward to is a low residency MFA program at Bennington that I start in January. And I'm someone who never studied writing, and I don't think it's necessary to have an MFA, but it's something I've always wanted to do. And as always, I, in my life, tend to do things in the wrong order.
Backwards, yeah.
So I'll publish my first book and then I'm getting my MFA. But
then you want to do it again. You'd be like,
Yeah, exactly. But I think that as much of a luxury as it is to be able to sell a book on proposal, I'm excited to create my second book in an environment where I can experiment and where there isn't the pressure to publish or to sell a book right away, but where I can kind of take creative risks and have a community of faculty and fellow students of the craft who are doing the same thing.
Do you think if you didn't come down here with a book contract that you would be as far along as you are? Do you think it was a positive for you in some ways?
To have a book contract? Oh, of course. It was hugely life-changing. I started my career out as a columnist and as a journalist, and this book has been kind of the second step from that. And I love writing, but I especially love having this space of a book to explore, and it's something that I hope to keep doing. So in my future fantasies, writing books will be something I continue to do, but I'm excited to kind of be open to approaching my next book and my books after that in different ways, and this MFA I think will be a new way to do it and a new approach.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Just a little tidbit, just right here for the TV show. So, if you were to offer advice to somebody else coming in, what would you, as a resident, what would you say?
What kind of advice? I don't believe in advice, but I'm going to do my best here.
You don't believe in advice. Do you tell that to people when they offer it to you?
No, I love receiving advice. I just feel completely unqualified to give anyone advice because I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. I guess my advice would be to focus on the writing, of course, but to give yourself the time to kind of play and explore and to see Orlando and to take little weekend trips. I went to Anna Maria Island and up the National Seashore, and those moments away from the desk and away from the work ended up being so helpful to the work. So it's something that I remind myself constantly, that the work doesn't have to be hunched over, a computer, but it can happen when you're walking or swimming in the ocean. So get out and see things and explore. Yeah.
Well, we are very, very glad that you joined us for 3 months, and of course you have a standing invitation to come back and do a book party, launch party here on the on the front porch. That would be awesome.
Thank you.
So we hope to
Thank
see
you.
you
It's
again.
been such an amazing and really valuable experience. So yeah,
Thank you.